Okay, our final lecture for Buddhism is about celestial bodhisattvas and Buddhas. This is a purely Mahayana concept. Celestial means heaven, heavenly or heavens. So these are bodhisattvas and Buddhas who dwell in the heavens. They're essentially devotional deities. So I didn't mention the infinite Buddha meditation practice last time, but it's a devotional practice that illustrates the image of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas acquiring power far exceeding that of any normal human. This is the sort of power that Samantabhadra used to transfer enlightenment to his student Surana. Advanced practitioners of the Bodhisattva path at the 9th or 10th stage. Recall there's one version of 6 stages, but the one with 10, those 10th stages, those latter stages in the 10th, particularly the 9th and 10th, they're really superhuman powers. They're supernatural powers, making it possible for them to reside in the heavens. Hence they are called celestial Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. These powers make it possible for these Bodhisattvas to function like Hindu gods. Buddhists insist, however, that the Bodhisattvas have gone far beyond the Hindu gods in their power and their understanding of reality. So there's a great pantheon of celestial Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that provide a devotional structure for the Mahayana world. And they're incredibly numerous, and so we won't go into a lot of details, but we'll talk about a few examples. One of the greatest celestial Bodhisattvas is Avalokiteshvara, which means the Lord who looks down. He is considered the great Bodhisattva of compassion, which is saying something given that all Bodhisattvas are, compassion is a key component, but he is the great Bodhisattva of compassion. He is described in the Lotus Sutra, which is a very important Mahayana text, as a protean deity who's always been around, who can take many forms to save those who call on him with some degree of conviction. Here is one depiction of Avalokiteshvara. And he can be evoked in various ways. One is to use the famous mantra. In fact, this is probably the most famous mantra and oldest. Om Mani Padme Hum. It might mean, the jewel in the lotus, or the jewel in the lotus of the heart. And what that would refer to is that spark of divinity in all of us that connects us, our self with a little s, with the self with the big S, our Atman to Brahman. But that's questionable translation, and no one's really sure what it means. It doesn't matter, because the power is in the sound. The sound will invoke the saving power of Avalokiteshvara. And so it will invoke his saving power, and also it is therefore a great a blessing of compassion. It is commonly used in Tibet, where it is carved and written everywhere. It looks like this. I heard a story about a devotee who that was his personal mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. And he once was making a pilgrimage, walked over a hill, and came upon hundreds of monks chanting that. Imagine how powerful that would be. In India and Tibet, particularly, Avalokiteshvara is associated with a female. Remember, Avalokiteshvara takes many forms. It's associated with a female bodhisattva, Tara, the protectress. She is a female manifestation of his compassion. Here is Tara. In Tibet, Avalokiteshvara is known as Chenrizig, where he is the patron deity of the Tibetan nation, and takes the form of a monkey, who is the progenitor of the Tibetan race, and eventually became manifested in the lineage of the Dalai Lama, who is, of course, a bodhisattva, an incarnation of this bodhisattva. There was a press conference many years ago. The Dalai Lama was in America, and there was some controversy at that time about the teaching of evolution, its conflict with religion, and somebody asked the Dalai Lama about does Tibetan Buddhism reject scientific ideas like evolution, and he said that no, in fact I would think that there's a lot of truth to that science, because our tradition is that the progenitor of the Tibetan race was in fact our patron deity was in fact a monkey. He did not say that he actually is that monkey. That would have been a bit, I think, too much for them to understand. Here's Chenrizig. in human form. In China, Avalokiteshvara Ra is known as Kuan Yin, means one who hears sounds. During the Tang Dynasty, Kuan Yin came to be pictured as a white-robed female deity. Here's Kuan Yin. And Kuan Yin's a big thing in China, even today, particularly associated with the power to grant children, which of course is huge in Confucian societies. The Chinese make pilgrimages to sites associated with Kuan Yin to pray for the benefit and welfare of their families. I'm going to show you just a quick minute of such a modern site in China today. All these people on an island with a temple to Kuan Yin. So Kuan Yin is a big deal. Maitreya, another important celestial bodhisattva who is believed to be the bodhisattva of a future Buddha who will come to earth when the Dharma is forgotten. So when the Dharma is totally forgotten, this messianic Buddha figure, Maitreya, will return to earth to deliver the Dharma again. He resides in a special heaven called Tushita. Here's Maitreya. Maitreya's devotees not only invoke his aid, but in some traditions can make a visual ascent to Maitreya's heaven to see him face to face. It's a transcendental, supernatural, intense meditation where ostensibly the devotee can climb to Tushita and speak to Maitreya. There's a story of a Maitreya devotee once who was a trader traveling, and he was beset upon by thieves who took his goods and said they were going to kill him. And he said, well, may I make a final prayer to my God before? And they said, sure. So he goes in this meditative trance, ascends to Tushita, asks Maitreya's help, and Maitreya kills his captors. Maitreya is portrayed in China as Hotai, the fat, laughing Buddha. He often has a bag filled with gifts to satisfy the needs of all sentient beings. He's sort of Santa, Buddha's Santa figure. And you will recognize him. This is the fat Chinese Buddha. It's really Hotai, which is sort of an incarnation of Maitreya, the Buddha to be. Manjushri, which means charming splendor. He's the patron bodhisattva of wisdom and the patron deity of scholars. He is the Buddhist counterpart of the goddess Saraswati, the consort of Brahma. Here's Manjushri. The preceding are all celestial bodhisattvas. These celestial deities also come in the form of celestial Buddhas. Devotional Mahayana is directed to both bodhisattvas and those who have completed the path as well. One of the most important, if maybe not the most important, celestial bodhisattvas is Amitabha, which means infinite light. He once took a vow that when he became a Buddha, he would create a place called Sukhavati, the pleasurable land. Very, very important deity. When anyone recalled his name, especially at the moment of death, they would be reborn in this land of Sukhavati. The way to recollect Amitabha Buddha is the mantra, Namo Amitabhaya Buddhaya, homage to Amitabha Buddha. It brings up a broader question. Why do religious traditions invoke the name of the deity? You know, Jesus, Kyrie eleison, the Jesus prayer, the 99 names of Allah, all the various devotional naming practices of Catholics. It has to do with that special devotional relationship with the adherent and the deity, that quest for union. Devotion to Amitabha Buddha is called Pure Land Buddhism, speaking of that Sukhavati. It is particularly influential in China and Japan. In Japan, it's the largest Buddhist group. It's a big deal. Pure Land Buddhism. In North America, it can be found in what's simply called in America, trying to adapt, I guess, to the dominant culture, the Buddhist churches of America. They're mostly in California and Hawaii. And I want to show you just a snippet of a service in one of these churches.
This is the first regular service of the new year, 2012. It's good to see all of you here this morning. And it is good to see because a couple of weeks ago I broke my glasses, and so I have new glasses.
So, service in English, if you didn't know better, you would think that was a Methodist service, but it's actually Pure Land Buddhism. How did religion based on self-reliance morph into a religion based on reliance upon a celestial being for salvation? So original Buddhism, the Buddha taught, it's on your shoulders. I'm just showing you the path. But with Mahayana, we have these forms of devotional practice where you're looking upon a celestial being for salvation. And this is an important historical question. It's not the influence of Christianity, though there are interesting parallels, but it's a logical outgrowth of the Mahayana tradition. Acting with compassion is important in Mahayana, but it's also important to receive the compassion of others, especially devotional deities. In Mahayana, just to begin the path is to experience all the compassion set in motion by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in previous lives. And that makes it possible for a tradition of self-reliance now to manifest itself in a tradition that puts immense stress on reliance on the compassion of others. And that is celestial bodhisattvas and Buddhas.